Daddy, come on, why don't you talk to me? I mean, how are you feeling? Well, tell me something. Are you having chest pains or what?
Looks like this could be our day.
Well, it hasn't been so far.
What's the matter?
I tried. Nothing. Just forget it.
Look, Miriam, don't worry. We're in better shape with this case than we've ever been.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe we could share a little bit of our good fortune with Dave Phillips. Looks like he's gonna need it.
Why is that?
Babs just called a little while ago. He's been arrested for murder.
Certainly took your sweet time in getting here. I thought you weren't going to get here at all.
I couldn't afford not to come. You've already pulled enough disappearing acts for both of us, remember?
I did what I had to do.
Well, there's one more thing you have to do, Charles. Tell Judge Sawyer I was not part of your cover-up.
There she is.
What is going on?
I want you to be the first to know.
Know what?
Well, Mrs. Davidson, you are going to have a new daughter-in-law. I asked Vicky to marry me. Didn't you hear what I said? Vicky and I are going to tie the knot. How about a smile? Maybe congratulations?
I'm sorry, but any of that's out of the question.
Oh, is that what you told Lori when Ben proposed to her?
Look, that was different. Ben was responsible enough to take care of her.
Well, I'm going to do the same for Vicky.
Peter, you are barely out of high school.
I'm halfway through college.
And how are you going to finish school taking on a wife?
Well, just like all the other guys do. My wife by my side.
That isn't possible with Vicky. Or have you forgotten where she is now?
Oh, is that what this is? You sort of see her as a convict or something?
No, I didn't say that, but she does have to fill out her jail sentence.
Yeah. The one that your sister should be serving. Well, you know Nancy was responsible for that soil analysis switch.
Nancy has nothing to do with this discussion.
Well, neither do I.
Peter, wait.
What do you want? Want to browbeat Vicky some more, huh? You never liked her.
I never really had a chance to get to know her.
No, it's not my fault. You didn't even want her to come over to dinner.
Can't you see what you're doing? You're confusing pity with love.
I don't go wanting to spend the rest of my life with her. Pity.
No, we're not talking about spending the rest of your life with her. We're talking about working every day to keep the vow that you've made to God.
Oh, well, I see where you're headed, but,
Peter, look. Both of you should know Jesus as Lord before you make any commitments to each other. Otherwise, the commitment alone isn't going to help you see the seriousness of those marriage vows.
you're talking like we don't even believe God exists.
The important thing is commitment, to have a personal relationship with Him. Now, look, have you ever really sat down and talked about Vicky's spiritual life with her?
The only thing I ever asked Vicky was to marry me. She said yes.
I suppose you know why we're all back here so soon?
Well, no, actually, I don't.
Oh, you don't?
It isn't quite clear. The real purpose was never completely explained to me.
Well, allow me. This is an informal session, so we'll skip the preliminaries. It has been brought to my attention that you've had problems with your health recently.
That is correct.
You don't deny it?
Well, I really don't see why I should. It was already established at the hearing that I had a heart attack.
Yes, it was. But it's your second one that I am referring to.
Second one?
Yes, the one that kept you from attending several of these hearings, the one that a doctor Wynn Johnston, cardiologist, treated you for it?
Well, as you can see, I'm in the best of health.
Oh, Harold, why doesn't he just tell the truth for once in his life?
Not according to Dr. Johnston. Seems that he advised against your returning some medical equipment that you had rented, that it was still vital to your recuperation.
Well, Your Honor, you know how doctors are. Sometimes they tend to be overly cautious.
Yes, I can see why in your case. Seems that your medication has even been strengthened.
Well, I had intended, or I planned to talk to you about that, but you see, you had adjourned the meeting.
You should have dropped in to see me anyway. It might have saved us from coming back here today.
Excuse me, Your Honor, I feel like I have to remind Mr. Carpenter that he's still under oath, even though the proceedings might seem to be pretty relaxed.
Oh, I think Mr. Carpenter understands what's going on, Mr. Webster. I was told that your absence was due to personal family business, Mr. Carpenter.
Yes, that's true, at first.
At first.
You see, I designed an investment program for my grandson and then subsequently handled all the purchasing of stocks and bonds myself, and it's all dated and documented.
Yes, Mr. Carpenter, but the issue at hand is your health. Tell me something. Did your attorney know about your business trip that turned into a sick leave?
Okay, so you asked her to marry you? She said fine. You're not interested in the spiritual aspects of your relationship, so I'm going to ask you about dollars and cents. How do you intend to support her?
Get a part-time job.
Part-time, huh? Where are you planning to live?
Here, I guess.
Oh?
Why not? Ben and Lori did.
Well, Lori had just gotten out of the hospital.
Well, what about Aunt Nancy? Think how long she stayed here?
Nancy is a part of this family, like it or not.
Well, like it or not, Vicky's going to be.
You're not offering her anything other than a temporary escape from whatever she's not facing.
What is this? You say you hardly know her, now you give me a psychological profile?
Look, I'm just telling you what I sensed from the time we did spend together.
Oh, she's not like that. She's kind, considerate.
I don't deny that, Peter, but you've got to
She's
look
also
at what...
very talented. You saw that painting she gave me.
Peter, Vicky has been through a lot. She's been hurt and scandalized. I mean, it's only natural she'd jump at a chance for a man to take care of her.
You promoted me to a man.
How can I make you understand this?
You can't. Your way.
Well, maybe not. All I'm saying is that this relationship doesn't have a chance of surviving without a solid foundation. And you don't have one.
How many times do I have to tell you? It has a foundation of love.
Love. Enough love to get you through 24 hours a day, year in, year out?
Let me live my life.
Peter, just listen to me for a second.
I've heard enough. You have compassion for Lori, you have compassion for Nancy, and Dave Phillips. When it comes to somebody that I love, somebody that I care about, you don't give an inch.
Well, Mr. Carpenter, I'm waiting. Did Mr. Myers know of your second heart attack?
No, he did not.
How about that? There's one for Myers.
The only thing he did know was about the business trip.
Very well. You may be seated.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Don't start thanking me yet.
Harold, what do you think? I can't tell anything, by the way, just saw her looks.
Well, he hasn't released us yet, so I guess that means he's made his decision.
Oh, no, you mean this whole thing could be over in just a matter of seconds?
Hang on.
Gentlemen, Mrs. Mason, suppose I should address you first, Mr. Carpenter? No. Keep your seat. This is just some advice. Call it a tip. If you ever come before my bench again, make sure you don't hold back any evidence that is pertinent to the case.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, as to the custody of Eric Mason, I have reviewed all of the evidence and arguments that have been presented in this hearing. That, along with the recommendations of Ms. Blair Simpson, the social worker assigned to investigate the respective backgrounds of Mr. Carpenter and Mrs. Mason. And frankly, it is not an easy decision to make. On the one hand, we have a mother with a emotional and medical background that, although character witnesses have testified she's changed for the better, can only be seriously held in question. On the other hand, we have a grandfather who can certainly provide for the child in a materially significant manner, but who has perjured himself before this court, a matter I do not take lightly at all, and whose health is in grave question. Therefore, deciding what is best for the child can only take a temporary framework to decide if it is in his best interest, which is the primary purpose of this hearing. Therefore, I am awarding custody of Eric Mason to his mother for a period of 6 months. Now, if anything is found during this period that is to the child's detriment or proves this hearing in error, Eric Mason's custody will be re-evaluated. Consider these proceedings adjourned.
Dave, you don't know how you ended up in that parking lot.
No, Eugene, I don't.
And you don't know anything about the gun.
I never saw that gun before.
Well, listen, the police say that the shell that was found in the apartment belonged to the same gun, and that isn't all.
Well, what else?
Either Kate let that murderer in, or the person had a key to the apartment because Amber says when she came home, the place was unlocked.
No, I never had a key to her place. Frankly, Kate would never have let me in.
You mean because of the condition you were in?
Yeah, that's from what they tell me. But I wasn't drunk. I know it.
How do you know you weren't drunk? How can you be so sure?
Because I would have remembered taking the first couple of drinks. I know that.
Even though you can't remember what you did last night?
You know, you're beginning to sound a lot like Brubaker.
Dave, can't you see? I'm just trying to help you see what you're up against, man.
No matter what I'm up against, I wouldn't have killed Kate.
Now, wait a minute. You think a jury would see it that way after knowing that the woman that you've been married to for years chose another man over you? Now, look. You wind up in your car, blitzed out of your mind, and the murder weapon is 10 feet away from your car.
There's got to be some logical explanation for
Maybe
that.
there is. Maybe there is. But until then, the jury can see that you had the motive, you had all kinds of opportunity, and not to mention all the evidence that's against you.
What am I going to do?
Look, I don't know. But I can tell you one thing. I've already started doing a little digging on my own. And I can promise you this, I'm not going to give up until I find something.
Oh, no, it was great. My knees weren't shaking, my throat didn't have a lump in it. It was great. All I said was, "Will you please marry me, Vicky?" And she said yes.
Wow. Congratulations.
I'm gonna beat you to the altar.
I bet you do.
Hey, do you think the girls will go for like a double ceremony?
Don't bet on it.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Have to share the center of attention. But I want Vicky and Amber to become friends.
Amber can't be anybody's friend, Peter.
Trouble?
Yes, as usual.
How's she taking her mother's death?
I'm not sure. We had other things to get off our chest.
They were close, weren't they?
Sure. I'm sure she shed a couple of tears for
You sound like you're using her as a dartboard or something.
her. She'd make a good one, wouldn't she?
Come on, she's the mother of your kid.
There is no kid.
What?
Not anymore. Amber took care of that.
You mean she...
Yeah. She had the abortion. Just like she threatened to in the beginning.
Man, I thought you were going through with it. I thought she was gonna have the baby.
That's what I thought, too. And to think I threw over Stacy for Amber. I lied to her, Peter. I told her I didn't care for her. I told her I didn't love her. And all for nothing. Man, I've really been a fool.
Have you seen Stacy?
Are you kidding? She's not gonna let me come anywhere near her anymore. I can't blame her.
You should explain this to her. You should tell her the whole story.
No, it wouldn't work. I mean, she'd think that Amber just double-crossed me and then I came running back to her.
Rough.
I've lost everything, Peter. Stacy, the kid, everything. When the Canterbury collapsed and I lost all that business and money, it's nothing compared to what I've lost this time.
But your intentions were good, Gil. You surprised me. You surprised a lot of people. You didn't leave Amber high and dry when she was pregnant.
I wish I had. I wish I never thought about raising that kid. Or getting used to the idea. Because now it hurts too much.
He hasn't stopped by here yet?
No, Peter hasn't been by at all.
And believe me, when he gets here, we're not going to let him go away. What possessed him to get engaged anyway?
Don't even ask.
You know, I think I saw it coming.
Did he have a chance to talk with you about it?
No, he didn't, but he told me he was in love with Vicky.
In love? He hasn't even dated her that much.
Well, he seems to have overlooked that fact.
Plus the fact that maybe she doesn't feel about him the way he feels about her.
Now, wait a minute. You don't know how she feels.
Yeah, maybe I don't, but I knew Vicky in college. And she was always the type that had to have a guy around, or else she didn't know what to do with herself. And anyway, Peter isn't mature enough to get married.
Well, please don't tell him that. He may just cut this engagement short to prove us all wrong.
They haven't already set a date, have they?
Oh, I hope not.
I honestly don't know. He left before I could ask him. Ben, would you talk to him?
Well, of course I will.
Oh, I would really appreciate it. You have a way with him that I don't. He seems to think that I still treat him like a child.
I'll look
Dr.
into
Martin,
it.
boy, am I glad I caught you before you got out the door.
Why, what is it?
Oh, Mr. Newhouse in number 3 says he doesn't take kindly to taking anybody's pills. There's the prescription you wrote for him.
I thought we'd been through all this.
Well, we'll just have to go resettle it.
Okay, well, I guess it seems I'd better. I'm sorry. I know we're ready to go to dinner.
Whenever. I'll wait for you.
Okay, I wish I could tell you it won't be long, but...
Okay, go.
Oh, Dr. Martin, you're still here?
Yes, I'm
Look at all these people piled up here. Oh, I tell you, we're so way behind, I feel like going down to that police department and bringing Dr. Phillips back here myself.
Let's go get something to eat.
No, thanks.
Get your mind off things.
Maybe some other time.
What are you gonna do? Sit here, be depressed? You're not getting anything done.
It doesn't matter. There's nothing here that belongs to Amber, so it doesn't remind me of her.
Oh, boy. When you're sour, you're sour.
So much for the Prescott manual on how to handle women, huh? Boy, I've been a fool.
I can hear my mom now. You reap what you sow.
There's some truth to that.
You know, I did get a few pointers from you, even though I didn't agree with you all the time.
Congratulations.
Hey, it isn't as bad as it seems, especially with Stacy. Now, you've been thinking of her.
You know I have.
Okay. You guys were real tight, so she's not gonna get over you real quick.
Peter, I really did a number on her. I mean, there's no way that we're gonna get back together again.
I told you to clear the air with her, remember?
You're right on the mark that time.
Okay. So maybe I'm right on the mark this time. I bet she's home. Call her.
It's crazy. The timing's all wrong.
The timing's always right for the truth.
Her mother's just been murdered. She's not gonna want to talk to me.
She might need you. She's not going to go to her father for comfort. She's not going to Amber.
Maybe you're right.
Sure. Sure.
Maybe I should go see her.
You should.
Really?
Really.
Wait a minute. Prescott Development, this is Gil.
Hello, Gil. This is Sergeant Brubaker down at the station.
Yes, Sergeant?
You remember I said we might need you for further questioning?
Sure, but you questioned me pretty thoroughly, don't you think?
Well, not really. There's a couple of things I think you can still help me with.
Like what?
I'd rather you come down to the station. Could you make it down here in about an hour, or should I send a squad car for you?
You know, I should have expected that much from this particular judge.
You should have expected that much when you lied to him about your heart attack. Charles, we lost. Your daughter has custody of Eric.
Only for 6 months. 6 months. That gives us plenty of time.
For what? To convince her to give you some kind of visitation privilege?
No, to get Eric back permanently. I don't know how and I don't know when, but Miriam's incompetence will certainly crop up again, mark my words.
With a little push from you over the edge, right?
I didn't mean it that way, but simply because this battle is lost doesn't mean that the war has ended.
You know what this is?
Looks like a receipt.
Yeah, what kind of receipt? You picked it up in Amber's apartment.
I have a pretty good idea what it's for.
Oh, yeah? What?
Amber's abortion yesterday.
So that's why you were chasing her all around last night, huh? You know, I'm curious. We had to trace this down to find the doctor's name on it because it wasn't on there. How'd you know what kind of receipt this was? Did Amber show it to you?
No. All right, Sergeant. Her mother told me.
That must have made you real mad.
Now, wait a minute.
Mad enough to go out and confront Amber. Mad enough to come back.
What?
You see, we got the ballistics report in on the murder weapon. The gun is registered in your name, Gil. Don't you think we ought to start all over again and you can tell me where you were last night when Kate Carruthers was murdered?